Welcome, everybody, to the nationwide prayer campaign to end abortion forever. I'd like to introduce you to Joe Campo. He'll be coming in later on to speak for us. He's the director of St. Francis House, a beautiful ministry that he does for 30 years now. And I just want to greet all of you on this wonderful solemnity of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. God bless you, and let's pray. Hi, today we have Joseph Campo, who is the director of the St. Francis House and producer director of Grassroots Films, Inc. Joseph Campo is CEO of Grassroots Film, Inc. and executive producer of God in the Streets of New York City, Fishers of Men, commissioned by the USCCB, and the award-winning documentary, The Human Experience, and directed the soon-to-be-released Outcasts. Through the power of image and sound, Grassroots Films aims to inspire and change the way people see reality by bringing audiences to places which are known to exist but are often hard to find. You'll see a little trailer of that in a little bit. Mr. Campo is the director of the St. Francis Home, the father of two sons, and a third order Franciscan. He has served as a drug and alcohol counselor, mentor, and father figure to the residents for 30 years. Mr. Campo also served for 15 years as the director of Youth 2000, organizing Eucharistic centered retreats throughout the New York area. Serving the poorest of the poor in the inner cities, Mr. Campo is an accomplished musician, and during this time was also the music director of the Youth 2000 New York Music Ministry. A native of Long Island, Mr. Campo developed an interest in photography while still very young. He continued to nurture his talents, as can be seen today in his works as a producer, public speaker, cinematographer, and still photographer. Thank you for coming, Joe. God
Thank,
bless you.
yeah, thank you. Thank you for inviting me here today.
Well, we hear that you are a regular Don Bosco of today.
He certainly is my hero.
Thank
One
you
of
for
one of my heroes for sure. Yeah.
just hearing your stories touches me, and I'm sure it'll touch many people because it's something that really reaches down into the heart and grabs it, and it says something's right here.
Hmm.
Something is right. Something about love. So, without further ado, I'm going to let you have center stage.
Okay. Well, I think what we spoke earlier was I was going to speak a little bit about the St. Francis home. So I'll just give you a brief history of it first, okay? And so the home was really started by Father Benedict Rochelle back in 1967. And he started the home simply because back then, in 67, he was the chaplain at a beautiful place called Children's Village up in Dobbs Ferry. And two of the boys were going to be released. They had no place to go. Back in 1967, they would release these young men on their 16th birthday. Father Benedict was very, very concerned on where these young men would wind up, probably back on the street or what have you, you know. So he found out they were from Greenpoint, Brooklyn, and he took a walk around Greenpoint, Brooklyn, and saw a dilapidated house that said the St. Francis Club. And he went across the street to the rectory and spoke to the pastor there. And I'll make a long story short. He wound up getting the house and now called it the St. Francis Home for Boys. And this actually took place on his birthday. Found the
Wow.
house on his birthday. And Bobby and Jimmy, who were the two young boys he was concerned about, moved into the home. Again, the place was dilapidated, but Father fixed it up with a lot of the young men. And we have 7 bedrooms. And he was housing people here for over 25 years before I came on the scene. Actually, he was about to close the house because he couldn't find anybody crazy enough to really run the ministry till I came along. And that was 30 years ago. So I would say that we probably have had way over maybe 400 young men come through these doors in that amount of time.
Wow, that's amazing.
And it's for young men who need a second chance in life.
Yes.
Some of the young men that come here in the past have come here for drug problems, alcohol problems, family issues, um, just economic problems, just poor people, you know. And you know, people come here for different reasons. But I said to you even earlier when we spoke yesterday that all of them came here they all have one thing in common, is what I wanted to say, and that's that they have no father.
They have
There's
no?
no father, no dad. So they are fatherless, and which brings us to probably a good part of this talk, that we live in this fatherless society, you know. And when a young man doesn't have someone to honor and look up to, a dad, you know, there's a piece missing out of the puzzle, and then you know all heck breaks loose by the time they reach adolescence. You know, a young man needs to know where he comes from. This way, he can tell where he's going, if you will. And dad is supposed to be the rock and stand there and teach them how to be men. Now, without that piece of the puzzle in there, you know, again, like I say, many other factors come in to replace that missing puzzle. And the spirit of confusion is one of them that enters right in. Sin enters right into the whole thing, you know. And so they feel unloved. And we all know, especially with the group that we're speaking to today, that that is the answer to everything, to everything. We just have to look at the cross, you know, to know that. So, yeah, we've had over 400 young men come through this house. Many today have their own businesses, are married, have children. A lot of people will ask me this question: well, how long do you let them stay? And I have to tell you that there is no answer for that, because each person that comes through here, each young man, is a total individual. They share some common problems, but they're still individuals. I had one young man stay here 15 years, half of his life. And he stayed here for that amount of time to learn what it is to be a man and to be a good father. And also he learned to be a good husband, because he's married today with 2 children of his own, you know.
Wow.
And it's not unusual for people to come here and stay here for years. It's not a shelter. It's not the type of place where, you know, you could just come in and lay on the couch, so to speak. Each individual has their own room. Each person in the house is either working, in school, or both. Now, we have a lot of young people that come through here who are on the welfare system. We have a person here now who's 4th generation welfare. No concept of a working environment until you move into the St. Francis house, because when you move in, I take you off welfare. As long as you can be taken off welfare. We don't take any money from the state either. You take money from the state, and you have to also take direction from them, which we absolutely will not do. You know?
Yeah.
And most of the people that come through here, Karen, are Catholic, but not everybody. It's not a requirement to come in here and be Catholic, you know, but it's a Christ-centered house. You know, when we have a crisis going on in the house, and we have 7 young men living in the house, there's quite a few crises going on from time to time, you know. I'll usually say something like, look, you know who's running this house? And they would say, yes, Joe, you. And I said, no, God is running this house. I'm taking orders from him, and you've got nothing to say, you know. So they get it, because at the end of the day, I have to answer to God for how I'm mentoring to them, you know. And so,
Well, Joe, what are some of the miracles you could share with us that you see in the home with the boys?
well, you know, I think really the first miracle that I enjoy the most is when people realize that they are a God, there is a God, and they're not him.
Hmm.
You know? And because you become very self-centered when you live alone or you don't have a dad and so forth. And so I like to lead by example, Karen. And so someone could walk down the stairs and see me sitting in front of the fireplace in the winter at 5 o'clock in the morning praying the rosary. I don't have to say a word, you know. They know that I have a prayer life, and they know how important it is to me. So therefore, it becomes important to them, like any father, you know, like any father. When they come in here, you know, if you don't have a relationship with your dad, how are you going to have a relationship with God, who's portrayed as a masculine figure, a father to begin with? And so this is one of the greatest joys that I have. I had a young man who was Jewish who came into the house. He was here after the second year he was here, and we say grace before every meal. And so I looked over to the left, and he made the sign of the cross. I said, well, can we start again? And he did it again. So I said, is there something I'm missing here? I mean, you're Jewish, did the sign of the cross. And this is what he said to me. He said, I've been watching you guys. I want what you have. He became Catholic before he went into the service and became Catholic.
Wow.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yes.
Isn't that beautiful? This is one of the greatest joys for me because, we're nourishing the mind, the body, and the soul. And, my job is, how do we get these guys into heaven? That's the end story,
Yeah.
And so when they really grasped how important that God is in their lives and how Christ affects us, that's a miracle.
Yes. Yeah.
That in itself is a miracle.
So we were discussing, like sometimes parents don't know how to be parents, and that's why kids don't know how to grow up with a good formation. And you've seen that. And what do you think is the largest difficulty?
Well, what I see is most of the parents that are having issues with their kids really want to be friends with their kids. They don't want to be a parent. They want to be nice all the time. They want to say, may I, please, can I, thank you. It's great and wonderful, and we should teach them to be polite. But the word no is very, very important because also discipline also has to come into that. When you're friends with your children, you can't discipline them. I mean, if you've seen one friend discipline another discipline a friend, it's sort of like, no, you shut up. No, you shut up. No, you shut up. No, you shut up. And that's what happens with parents and kids. If any of the boys told me to shut up in this house, it'd be the last time they ever say it. Because we have to draw a line in the sand.
Yeah.
Like say, I'm friendly, but I'm not your friend.
Right.
We don't hang out together. So I see this as a problem where parents sort of want to be their friends and hang out with them. And, kids don't want their parents to be their friends. This is very important that parents should understand this.
Mm-hmm.
They want a parent.
Exactly.
When I have to teach a young man, like, look, you've got to brush your teeth every day. And it's sort of like every day you got to go back. Did you brush your teeth? And you're talking to somebody who's maybe 18 years old. Did you brush your teeth? No. Well, go brush your teeth. Well, I brushed them yesterday. Well, no, you don't know. You've got to brush your teeth every day. Every day. And then, eventually, I told you even earlier, one of these boys said to me, well, you've got to teach me. You have to tell me. They know they're vulnerable. They know that they don't know. And they're looking for someone to look up to. That's why God put in the 10 Commandments, honor thy father and thy mother. You cannot honor your parent if they're just your friend.
Right. And we're looking for authority. We're programmed to needing authority because God is our ultimate authority.
It's so obvious to me that what's going on in the world today, these young people who are college students grew up with no authority.
Yeah.
Zero.
Because parents don't want to be authority anymore.
Well, it's their responsibility because this is what God taught us. Mm-hmm. It is their responsibility, and they will be held accountable for what they did not do.
Right.
And it's very, very important. Now, I'll give you an example. I sit at the head of the table when we have dinner at night. I'm the authority figure in the house. I'm also the most generous person in the house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And at the same time, I have to be the most forgiving person in the house. So, yeah, do you have to juggle it? Yes, you have to juggle it. But that's what you have to do.
Yes.
I think this is required of us. Sometimes I have to really admonish somebody, And the first thing I think of, Karen, is my own sins. Like before I really give it to this guy, who's looking for the authority figure to tell him anyway he's wrong so that he can learn and move on to the right stuff. I'm thinking of, wow. I mean, just think of my own sins, So
I do too, Joe.
What's that?
I do too.
Yeah, you do that. And it's sort of like, okay, well, at the same time, I want to be strong and we have to make sure that we get the correct information to the person, but I'm not budging. Because I'm teaching the truth.
Amen.
This teaches them to be strong and to stand up for what's right. One of the things that's missing today, even in a lot of these young people that we see, is not only that if they don't have an authority figure, they don't have any courage. They're so weak. You call them a name, they got to go to a crying room. What? This is ridiculous. They're teaching young people not to be strong. They're teaching them to be weak. They're teaching them to be led by their emotions. Now, emotions are extremely important in all the things that we do. But if they lead us, then they're leading us down the wrong road. Mm-hmm. Who wants to make a decision when your emotions are very high?
Right.
Young people are doing this on a daily basis in school. You know, I had a young man who would get calls, 3 calls a day from the principal and his teacher at school. They even called the police on this young man last year. He's been in the house now over a year with us, and he is now president of the school. And not only is he president of the school, he's also in the Honor Society.
Amen.
The teacher actually came over here to meet with us and to kiss him and to thank him because she saw such a great change. So he did a big speech in front of the whole school. I was invited to go, of how anybody can change.
Amen.
He said, I changed, you can change. And to be honest with you, I don't really feel I did that much in his life. But I was there, where his dad is not there, where his mother has other issues and problems in her life. But I was there, and I was the constant strong guy. And when it came time to do things like homework, and he would say to me, I don't have any homework, I'd say, well, I'm going to check. So there's no point in you telling me you don't have. He goes, oh, no, I have homework, but I don't have to do it. That's easy. The story just changed. Not going to happen. You're not strong. You're not a man. That's just what I told him. You're not a man. You should have said, I have homework, but I don't want to do it. See, that I would have believed. Okay. And I would say, but you're going to do it anyway. and that's, but, you know, if you don't work with them, look, sometimes, you know, I take all the boys to mass and they'll say something like, well, listen, I don't want to go to mass. And I'll tell them, well, they'll say, I'm too tired. I go, well, me too, but we have to hurry because we're going to be late. We're going anyway. It's what we do. Mm-hmm. There is no excuse. Yes. Or there's only excuses. Nothing ever gets done. You know? Right. So the important thing is to be that authority figure. You know? And you know, these young men are coming in here and his hormones are flying all over the place. They're 18 years old, so thinking about sex every 2 minutes. And it even comes out in the conversation sometimes good, sometimes not so good. But I try to take a situation like that and try to turn it into something very, very positive. Very positive. I will show them a good friend of mine, Chris Bell, when he's down at the Margaret Sanger abortion place, Planned Parenthood in the village. I like to take the guys with me so they can see what we're actually doing, saving lives, praying the rosary. This is what men do. Standing up for women and standing up for children and being a protector. Yes. And being the person that God has made you to be. Otherwise, they're going to be the person the television has told them that they are. Mm-hmm. And if you watch the television programs, all the men are dumb and weak. Right. I won't even have it on. I told one young man, I know you're watching YouTube videos. He said, well, how do you know? I said, because you're acting like an idiot. That's just what I said. What does that mean? I said, you're acting like the people who are in those videos. And I want you to stop it. I want you to act like you. You don't know who you are. You think you're one of them. No. You pray for those people. That's, you know, you don't, every answer is not negative or funny. What's the truth here? You know, finding the truth. So.
Well, one truth is that when it comes to sexuality, you could bring them to the hospital where the nursery is, and you could say, if you want to follow your animal instincts, you can, but this is what you get. This is what you get to take care of. This is what you're going to have to be responsible for. And a lot of people don't add that up in the equation. They just want to have that pleasure for the moment, you know? But the reality is this could happen, right?
It can happen, and it does happen. Thank God it hasn't happened in the house because we are pro-life.
Yes.
If you're not pro-life when you move into this house, you will be when you leave, or you will leave. You won't like it because we're gonna stand true. I mean, I've had, you know, one young man who finally came around after, no exaggeration, probably 2 years. Until finally the simplest thing was said to him. because he didn't think it was a baby. The simplest thing was like, well, is it growing? Yes, it's growing. Well, if you stop it from growing, didn't you just kill it? So it must have been alive, you know? And so that's the one thing that got this young man. He goes, yeah, well, you're right. Like you just never know, you
Yeah.
know, what's going to work and what's not going to work. And it just was in a conversation, a passing conversation, rather than an argument or rather than some big disagreement with everybody at the dinner table.
Right. So I just want to ask you a question, Joe.
Sure.
How do you tie this huge ministry that you have, affecting lives and their children's lives? How do you tie this all into the Sacred Heart of Jesus?
No, I mean for today's feast.
Yes.
Well, the heart was made for one thing, and it was to love.
Amen.
So I think it's easy. I don't think it's so difficult. You know, I have this beautiful picture, hand embroidered picture of the Sacred Heart of Jesus on the wall. It's over 100, maybe 110 or 15 years old. And an old Polish woman gave it to me, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 years ago. And it hangs in a place of honor in the house. And
Mm.
so anytime you walk in here, you see Jesus pointing, but it's absolutely magnificent with a little gold frame around it, you know. And so why does Jesus point? Because the heart was made to love.
Yes.
That's it. That's it. I mean, that takes in a lot of ground, don't you think?
I think that's why people are healed because they've experienced love. And love doesn't mean, oh, if you're nice all the time. You know, it's what love requires of a situation or just daily living. So
Just
they've
daily
experienced that
and mercy,
mercy.
mercy. You know, in Sister Faustina's book, you know, the ocean of mercy, where you know a sin is a drop in the ocean of mercy. You know, I think my mind works in pictures with the photography and everything. When I hear that, you know, who could not be saved?
Amen.
Who, just who doesn't want to be? That's where you know that's where the rubber meets the road. You know, it's like a fountain of mercy. That's big.
Amen. Amen. Well, I wanted to show your trailer for the Outcast,
Yes.
and you are incredible. You could do all these things. I don't know how you juggle it all, but God gives the ability. And
Right.
God must want it because the trailer alone is so touching. So let me go ahead and
Okay.
thank you so much, Joe. You shared with, in 20 short minutes, you impacted a lot. Thank you so much.
Am I
God
coming
bless you.
back or?
Yeah. Would you like to come back?
Oh no, I'm just asking. I don't know. This is the first time I'm doing it with you. So
No, we're gonna go ahead and just show your trailer, and then if people want to continue on, I have also a Sacred Heart chaplet sung by Marty Rottello. It is beautiful. It is just beautiful. I had to put it on. If people need to go, they could go. But if you want to stay for a few more minutes, it's just worth it. But Joe, can you please tell people where to go to if they wanted to donate to St. Francis House?
oh sure, they could go to our website.
Okay.
It's www.saintfrancisHousebrooklyn.com. ST for Saint Francis House Brooklyn.com. And they could go there and see the website. You can also find us on Facebook, but you can donate from the website.
Okay, thank you so much. And
All right.
also your material for the movies and the docudrama.
Yes.
Where could they find that? Because I forgot to put it up.
Yeah. Okay. It's Stream Pro. It's Stream Pro
Stream Pro.
slash Outcast, and you can download it for streaming.
Okay,
Or you
Stream
can go,
Pro slash Outcast.
yeah,
Okay,
yes.
.com.
Um,
Well, they could see that when
yeah,
once it's up.
you can find that.
Okay. All
Thank
right. So thank you so much, Joe. God bless you.
you. Happy feast day.
Happy feast day. Sacred Heart of Jesus, we place our trust in you.
Amen.
And just so you know, if you need one on one prayer, you could call this number 878 Jesus or 888-785-3787, noon to midnight. And that is one on one prayer. And this is Outcast's trailer.
I'm sorry. I don't want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone if possible. We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery. We don't want to hate and despise one another. In this world, there's room for everyone. The good earth is rich and can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful, but we have lost the way. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. Our knowledge has made us cynical, our cleverness hard and unkind. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity. More than cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without these qualities, life will be violent, and all will be lost. Even now, my voice is reaching millions throughout the world. Millions of despairing men, women, and children. Don't give yourselves to brutes. Men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, and what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. You are not machines, you are not cattle, you are men. In the 17th chapter of St. Luke it is written, the kingdom of God is within man, not one man nor a group of men, but in all men.
On this Feast of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, would you consider making a financial gift to John Leaps to help us rid our country of abortion? If you believe in the work of this ministry, then as a gift to John... On this Feast of the Sacred Heart of...
Oh, shoot, what happened? Lord have mercy.
Secrets of your heart, open up to me. Treasures of your love, gifts of charity. Have mercy on us, Lord. Sweetheart of Jesus, burning with love, inflame our hearts with your love. Sweetheart of Jesus, burning with love, inflame our hearts with your love. Sweetheart of Jesus, burning with love, inflame our hearts with your love. Sweetheart of Jesus, burning with love, inflame our hearts. Jesus, burning with love, inflame our hearts with your love. Sweetheart of Jesus, burning with love, inflame our hearts with your love. Sweetheart of Jesus, burning with love, inflame our hearts with your love. Sweetheart of Jesus, burning with love, inflame our hearts with your love. Sweetheart of Jesus, burning with love, inflame our hearts with your love. Sweetheart of Jesus, burning with love, inflame our hearts with your love. Secrets of your heart, open up to me. Treasures of your love, gifts of charity, have mercy on us, Lord. Sweetheart of Jesus, burning with love, inflame our hearts with your love. Sweetheart of Jesus, burning with love, inflame our hearts with your love. Sweetheart of Jesus, burning with love, inflame our hearts with your love. Sweetheart of Jesus, burning with love, inflame our hearts with your love. Sweetheart of Jesus, burning with love, inflame our hearts with your love. Sweetheart of Jesus, burning with love, inflame our hearts with your love. Sweetheart of Jesus, burning with love, inflame our hearts with your love. Sweetheart of Jesus, burning with love, inflame our hearts with your love. Sweetheart of Jesus, burning with love, inflame our hearts with your love. Sweetheart of Jesus, burning with love, inflame our hearts with your love. Secrets of your heart, open up to me. Treasures of your love, gifts of charity, have mercy on us, Lord. Sweetheart of Jesus, burning with love, inflame our hearts with your love. Sweetheart of Jesus, burning with love, inflame our hearts with your love. Sweetheart of Jesus, burning with love, inflame our hearts with your love. Sweetheart of Jesus, burning with love, inflame our hearts with your love. Sweet with love, inflame.
On this Feast of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, would you consider making a financial gift to John Leaps to help us rid our country of abortion? If you believe in the work of this ministry, then as a gift to johnleaps.com and as a gift to the Sacred Heart of Jesus and part of your tithing, would you go to johnleaps.com now and click on the donate button? Maybe the Lord is even inspiring you to become a monthly partner. Go to johnleaps.com and click on the donate button now. What a beautiful gift to give to the heart of Jesus. Where your treasure is, there is your heart.